Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Venice Indians Coaches Show. And with Coach John Flynn, and our special guest tonight will be senior Vince Marino. And you see him really racing down the court each and every game. John, it's been a while since we've been on the air, hasn't it?
It has been a while. Good to be back after the holidays and running around crazy, chasing games and stuff. But, yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back on the show, and good to see you like always.
Give us an update of what happened in City of Palms.
The City of Palms was, I think, a fantastic experience for all of us. I mean, playing in a venue like that with that many people, I thought it was fantastic. We played so good, really, really good for about 31 minutes, and unfortunately we let that get away to Lehigh. But in saying that, it was just, I loved it. I thought it was just a great atmosphere, a great place to play, and unfortunately we just couldn't finish the deal. We just didn't get it done. So. It's the way it goes. That's what happens. Lehigh's a tough team. You know, I knew it wasn't going to be. We were up by 15, 16 most of the night, and they just started working hard. They started to put pressure in a little bit, and just came down to it. We just couldn't get it done at the end. So.
Transitioning out of Christmas and New Year's and that holiday, you played quite a few games in that time. Did it slow down the team at all?
No, I mean, we always have a big holiday schedule with Lemon Bay's tournament and with the Lehigh thing. We've been doing that for a number of years now. We just, we came out in the first game at Lemon Bay at the Provincia there and just came out flat against Leonard. We didn't play very well against them, and played much better the next day, lost by a couple to a really good Oviedo team out of Orlando. The kids have been playing super hard. They've been playing great. We just could not get over the hump in some of those games. We lost a tough game to Riverdale at the Lehigh tournament in overtime. Kid hits a shot with a couple seconds to go to send it to overtime. So, it's just been one of those things. We've been snake bit a couple of times, but the good part about it is that the kids are working hard. We haven't really missed a beat. We sort of changed up on some suggestions from some players. We changed up some of the practicing, how we're doing it a little bit more competitive. I think that's helpful. And then, of course, get in there this past Friday and get one against Northport, which was huge for the kids. I mean, they needed that game. I was so happy that they were able to get over that hump, so to speak.
You know, both Northport and you, at the outset, you would think that it was going to be very competitive, and it really was competitive. It was fun. Northport pretty much ran the table on the first, second, and third quarter. Then all of a sudden things started changing. Fourth quarter, I think you guys put it into some overdrive gears, and it did go into overtime because it was tied after regulation. That was a fun game.
Yeah, we got a lot of we had a lot of good looks in that game. I think early on we just missed some shots that we normally probably would make, and then it sort of dragged a little bit through there. But listen, at the end of the day, as hard as they've been working, it was just fantastic that they were able to stay with it. Getting the bucket right at the beginning of the overtime was huge. That was a big play for us off the tip. Winning by 7 or 8, whatever. I think it was 7. It's 8. That's fine with me. It didn't matter if it was 1 or 7. We just needed it as a team. The kids needed it as players, and that was a big win for us. And hopefully that gets us righted up.
And we're going to bring in Vince in just a minute here, but you have been tweaking and working your lineup, and coaches do that. I mean, you will play these players or you play these players, and you mix them up, and you just try and find a mix. And I saw you pull out your son at one time, and it was like, gee, Dad, I wanted to stay in another minute or so. But those things happen.
It doesn't matter if it's Connor Flynn or Connor Brown. It doesn't really matter. You need to be able to produce on the floor. You got to get it done. He's just like some other guys. He gets some open looks and misses or does whatever. It's not any different than some of the other guys. It's just that we need to try to get production on the floor. And the most stable part of the lineup has been Vince. For the most part, and probably Tristan Burrows. Since other than that, we've been rotating some guys through there, and we'll continue to do that until we figure out a good way to do it. We've noticed that Will Miser plays better off the bench than he does starting. So just things like that. And right now, with the amount of games that we still have left, we got time to still get this thing figured out with the playoffs coming around. And this year with the rankings and the power rankings and all that stuff, it's all about being ready to go when that time is right. So we're still messing around with it a little bit. Not as much as we were before, but I think we got a decent rotation of guys now. But you got to go on the floor. You got to be able to get something done. You got to be able to contribute some way, somehow. And of course, it's all in the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. We track all that. So, yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, though, for me, is that they're all trying to do their best. They're all still practicing hard. Through the holidays, it's hard to keep teams together. A lot of things happen during the holidays normally, we've had some. Vince's grandmother passed away, with Tristan with the accident, Tristan Burrows with the bad accident the day before the City of Palms. So we've had a few other things going on outside of the game as well. So they've stayed together, and that's all that matters. And we got a bunch more to play, and hopefully we can we can get on a little run here for the end of it.
Absolutely, and we are sponsored right here. You can see it up on the top corner here. McKenzie Construction of Florida, right there. Give them a call. These guys are great. We had Scott Huber on the show, and boy, I'll tell you, he's fun, isn't he?
He's funny. I tell you, I don't know if you get a nicer guy, and I'll tell you something. Their company is such first class, and for them to be able to step up for us and sponsor the show and sponsor the games and stuff like that, I think it's phenomenal. And it wouldn't happen without Scott. We really appreciate his support for sure.
Absolutely.
And by the way, the folks here at Sharky's too. I mean,
this is Pops.
The folks here at Pops too as well. I mean, I think what Christian and Joe do for us is fantastic, and it's always good to be here.
All right, let's bring him in. Vince Marino, you see him over here. Vince, kind of scoot your chair in just a little bit. Perfect. And go ahead, John. Introduce Vince to the fans.
Vince Marino is our senior point guard. He's been in the program all through his high school. We rely on Vince. He's got the ball in his hand most of the time. Most of the time, he's logging 30 minutes a night. And we're certainly glad to have him. So I wanted him to be on the show tonight. I just think he needs to get a little bit more, I would say, not publicity, but he needs to get some more accolades, because he does a lot of things on the floor for us, and a lot of other people tend to get some of the press or some of the whatever, depending on. It's not all about scoring. It's about doing other things. So I wanted Vince on the show tonight for sure.
Absolutely. Vince, you got the wheels. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
All right. Hey, what's your favorite subject in school?
My favorite subject is probably history. I like learning about the past, where we came from.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
After school, what do you want to do?
Basketball.
So you're hoping to get some offering in college?
Yes, sir.
Any one that you got your sight on? I'm pointing to the Intercoastal, but there's not a college out there.
Yeah. I've been talking to Southeastern. I got a lot of interest in there. Most likely going to be going there after high school.
All right, we're going to get to the basketball in one moment. If I looked on your iPad, or if Coach looked on your iPad, what music would we find as your favorite?
What music? I'm a hip-hop guy. A lot of Lil Wayne. Yes, sir.
Do you come into the school at night before the game with your cans on?
Most definitely.
And so you're listening to hip-hop then?
Yes, sir.
Or you listen to Coach Flynn on his speech?
No, he got his headphones in so he doesn't have to listen to Coach Flynn.
Okay. We see you tooling down there, and you like offense or defense?
I'm an offensive guy, but you got to love defense too, because defense creates offensive possessions, and you can't have one without the other.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you like him on, offense or defense? I mean, he is a great offensive player.
No, he's a good offensive player, but he's also a very good defensive player too. And like I said, if you look at some of our scores and some of the games we're on, we really have played pretty good defense this year as a team most of the time, which for me, I'm sort of that guy. So, I mean, I think like Vince says, we do create some offense out of our defense, but listen, when the ball's in his hand as much as it is during the game and there's things going on, I think he's good both ways, honestly. Both ways.
Started the game. Do you think about the opponent? Do you think about the plays that the coach is calling? What's going through your mind before the game?
Usually before every game, we got a game plan, and I
Does
just
it
want to
work?
try. Yeah, most of the time it does work.
It's amazing, but yeah, somehow we pull it off.
Yeah. So we try and stick to the game plan, but obviously it's not going to work every time. But we see what comes at us, and then we change if we need to, or just keep going with what we got.
You're like the quarterback of the team, basically, because you bring it down and you start calling the plays at the top of the key.
Yeah.
Do you like to take it into the paint, right? Drive it to the basket, or do you kind of like to shoot perimeter and threes?
I like to take it to the basket, but it always feels good to hit a three. there's a lot more opportunities at the basket,
Uh-huh.
and it's a lot safer shot, but it always does feel good to hit a three, get the crowd going a little bit, and a little bit of momentum with it.
You ever like to do the James Harden where you take 2 steps before you do the shot and get away with traveling?
It's hard to get away with that.
You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Coach?
Even when you're not traveling in our area, you tend to get called for traveling. So it's hard to figure that part out. So James Harden wouldn't fit in very well around here.
No.
That's for sure.
So you're coming down, and not that you have favorites, but you know who you like to come down to. So, for example, last game with the starters, we have Jason Platt, he's good. Will Miser, he's good. I mean, all these guys are really good. Coming on down, do you like to pass off to the left or to the right? I kind of went in a couple different directions there.
Yeah. Different guys have different good qualities, different things that they're good at.
Sure.
But it has a lot to do with
now's the
mismatch.
time to talk about your buddies and talk about your enemies.
Yeah, you can't really play friendly ball. It's whoever's producing or whoever's hot. Somebody might not be having a great game, but you also got to look at mismatches, who's guarding who. So there's a lot of factors to it.
And we run everything on both sides of the floor, so it depends on just, we play basically, lately we've been playing 3 guards, but we had been playing 4 guards before that. But whatever we run on the right side, we run on the left side too, so it brings in other players into the mix as well. Okay. So we're trying to get up and down the floor as fast as we can. That's what we're doing pretty good at this year so far. We're just trying to finish around the rim has been some of the struggle, but the intent and what we want to try to do has been fairly decent. I think we're pushing the ball pretty well.
Yeah, this is Venice Indians, a basketball coaches show. Coach John Flynn, and our guest this evening is Vince Marino. And boy, I had a question there, and I just lost it.
That's it. You're getting old, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, so you're coming down at the beginning of every game. You play on the opposite end of the court, and then on the second half of the game, you play on your home end of the court, or it would be on the side that your team is on if you're playing away. Do you prefer playing on the farther end? Because sometimes I see teams that they actually do pretty good on the other end of the court rather than they're on their own end of the court. Do you understand the question?
Yeah, I got you. It is good when we got our student section right there when we're on offense. They give us a momentum swing because when you got the loud crowd, and we got a pretty good crowd throughout the whole gym.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just our student section, but it does feel good when they go a little crazy. But I think we do well on both sides, comfortable anywhere.
I could tell you from a coaching standpoint, I prefer the offense to be away from the bench and the defense to be in front of the bench. Just from a coaching standpoint, I'm saying you're able to help, you're able to kind of throw out some stuff to get a guy in the right spot. When you're trying to defend and on the opposite side, it's harder because the gym is so loud and things are going on and stuff like that. If somebody's out of position, you can help them, but sometimes it's hard. So, as from a coaching standpoint, I think if you'd ask any coach that, they would tell you they prefer the first half of the game where the defense is on their side, and like Vince said, probably for the players on the offensive side, probably they would prefer that.
The student section at Venice, they are rabid. I mean, they are absolutely nuts. They're off the charts.
Yeah.
And when they get cranking in a game, and I've seen it in volleyball and I'm seeing it in basketball, that's got to energize you and the rest of the team.
Most
and,
definitely.
Coach, you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Good.
They give us an energy boost, especially when they're going crazy, jumping up and down. They sure know how to make some noise, and it does help us a lot.
What about Friday night? Because Northport had a great following, and they were packing it too. So you were down at their end of the court toward the end of the game in that overtime, and they were just thumping. And I mean, I couldn't even see, and I had to stand up because it was just going nuts. That had to energize you on the other ones just to say, I'm going to show you guys.
Yeah, it does. There's a lot of noise going on, but at the same time, you got a bit of tunnel vision. So you hear it, but you're still really focused on the game.
The other thing too is that, and Vince can attest to this, it's nice having that gym full.
Yeah,
I mean, we've had some games in years past where that probably hasn't been the case where it should have been, but right now, I just think it's fantastic. It's great for the players. It's great for everybody involved, and I just hope they continue to keep coming. We got 3 or 4 more home games left, and I hope they keep coming because we really appreciate them being there.
A surprise that you just, it's not a surprise to you, but you just said, hey, by the way, Guy, we've got a game on Thursday. Kind of tell us what's happening on Thursday.
Yeah, so back in the beginning of December, one of our first games was supposed to be against Imagine at home, and at the last minute, they canceled the game. The coach had some personal issues, couldn't be there, so they canceled the game. So I proposed to them that, hey, I'm losing a home game, so can we take our January 16th game and move it to our place to sort of kind of even the deal, so to speak, and they agreed to that. So for some reason, on some of the schedules, it was still out there that we were on the road, and I believe that even our announcer said at Friday night's game that we were on the road on Thursday. That's not true. We are home Thursday.
Yeah, because he said the next home game will be the 28th.
Right.
And I looked on the calendar, I said, okay, that's right.
Right, and everything else that we have, the game is correct, and then for some reason there was something out there about that. So on the school website, it's correct. On our Max Prep, it's correct. Everything's correct. So I just want to get that word out and to let everybody know that we'll be home Thursday night, 5:30 and 7. And then to make up for that game, I'm working on another home game, which will be the last week of the season, probably the Tuesday of the last week of the season, which would be maybe, the 3rd or something like that, or 4th.
Here's a calendar here. So on the 16th, you're going to play Imagine.
Either the 4th or the 5th of February, we'll be home. I just haven't put it.
Okay, now on the 7th, you have a game.
Yeah, we're home against Riverview.
And so it's either going to be 4 or 5, you say?
Yeah, 4 or 5, and we're home for sure on the 7th against Riverview.
So you're going to have 28, and then you're going to have 31, that Tuesday and that Friday.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have the following Friday, the 7th, and you may have one either that Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yes, I'm working on something right now to get us another home game right there in the beginning of that week.
Okay, now, Coach Flynn has talked many times, many times about the Pop Sunset Grill flatbread pizza. Oh, Vince, did you order?
No, not yet. Vince, you have some of this.
And so now Vince is actually going to order on air. Go ahead. And so Vince is ordering. This is the flatbread pizza. This is one of Coach Flynn's favorite.
I got it up in the camera now. I've been telling you guys about
That's
this. You got to come down to Pops. You got to have some flatbread.
There it is right there.
The food is fantastic. The people are great, and we always thank them all the time for being able for us to come here, have their show, and eat some good food.
Yeah, and this is the Venice Indians Coaches Show live from Pop Sunset Grill. And
God, do you have a salt over there?
Salt would be in the Bud Light thing, so Vince, I'm going to have to ask you to go get that over there. And I didn't put the bucket in front because we're not advertising Bud Light.
Good. Vince, have a piece of this too, man.
Oh my goodness, that smells fantastic! And I got this burger. You've got to come on down. We did a show with Coach Wheatley, and he got this shrimp thing.
Yep.
And there was like a half a dozen people that came the next week and they said, we want the same thing that he got.
Well,
you've got to come down here next week when we're doing our coaches show. You can watch us right here, sit on the bar side of the Intercoastal and watch the show. And if you have a question, you can. By the way, you have a special guest coming in next week too, don't you?
We do. Got our athletic director, Mr. Peter Dombrowski.
And I'll tell you what, he's a trip.
He's a great guy, fantastic boss. And we're glad to have him at Venice High School, and he'll get down here next week for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Now, so you have, let's go back through here. Thursday night, Imagine is doing some switching up, so they're going to be at the Venice Gymnasium, the Teepee, on Thursday night. Game time is 7?
7 o'clock varsity, 5:30 JV.
Okay. Then next Monday night, another coaches show live from here at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
No games, home games that following week. Am I correct in that?
We go to Port Charlotte on that Tuesday. We go to Port Charlotte Tuesday the 21st, and we're at SMA the 24th. No home games the week of the 20th.
Okay.
Who's the best opponent you like to face, and who's the worst opponent you like to face, Vince? Because there's some tough teams out there.
Yeah. I think Riverview's going to be a good game. I think a lot
now
of people.
We're talking Riverview, Sarasota.
Yeah. And that's coming up. I think a lot of people are going to come. We're not a rivalry school, but
I don't know. I think that's starting.
I think it is because
I saw it happen with volleyball.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that they are cranking it up. And so when they see the name Venice, they've got their sights geared on you guys.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people are going to show out for that. Sarasota people are coming. Venice people will be there. I think people from all over will be there just to see what happens. it's going to be a good one too.
Yeah.
Well, I think when you throw in the Malachi piece to that too, it sort of adds a little bit more interest to it. So I'm sure they'll all be coming up.
Okay, so is that a tough team to face, or is that one that you're looking forward to facing?
Both. It's going to be a big crowd, so it's going to be fun. I know a lot of guys on the team who I've played with.
So you want to get in their face?
Yeah, a little bit. See,
I mean, do you have that finesse feel where I'm just going to go down there, or do you have that attack feel? I mean, what is Vince Marino? What makes you you? Good question, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a good one. I think you got to have that kind of kill mentality.
Okay.
So you got to go down there and think that you're the best one in the gym, no matter what. So.
And generally, the guy who brings the ball down is the stud that you remember back from high school.
Yeah.
You know, he comes down there and he's got the stuff going and he's got the swag going and stuff, but he quarterbacks the team.
Well, really, honestly, in a coaching position, which I think over the years, some years past, we haven't had that. But with him, with the ball in his hand as a coach, you feel a lot better. And you feel like you're able to kind of get some stuff done.
And there's less fumbles and getaways.
Yeah, you're not concerned about major turnovers and things like that. So it's very comforting as a coach to be able to have a point guard like that, a senior guy who's been around, who's played a little bit. We're bringing the other young boy on, Jay Sean Platt, who's going to be down the road. He'll be that same guy as Vince was when he was a sophomore. So we have a couple in the pipeline that are going to be pretty good. But right now we're happy with what we got. We're happy that that's how it's going to be. And when the ball is in his hand, everybody feels a lot safer. Yeah. So for us, it's a big deal. By the way, you can't run a team without one. You got to have one. You got to have a good one, and you got to have one who is pretty fearless. And I think that's what we got. And some days it's pretty good. Some days it's it's up and down for everybody, like it is for everybody else. But that's just the plan, and that's how we need to go with it.
All right, not to anger that team, but what is the team that it's like, we got it? There ain't none? The coach says don't go there.
No, it's not that I'm not going to go there. It's just that, right now.
Or is the level of competition rising?
I kind of would put it back on us. The way we're kind of like getting off these weird starts and playing weird pieces, I'm not sure what that's going to be like. I'm sure this Thursday would be probably one of our, I don't know how to even
a little bit lighter games.
Yeah. Listen, by the way.
That was a good way of putting it, a lighter game.
Well, we haven't had that. Our schedule has been tough, and it was put together that way on purpose.
Because you had the Provincial and you had the City of Palms.
Yeah, not just the tournament, but the teams that we're playing. They're really good teams. Final Four teams last year, a couple of them, and then the Dunbar game that we played on. We played some hard teams, so we're in a part of the schedule now that's a little bit more forgiving for us. So we got a chance to get back on the right side of this.
All right. Okay, Vince, let's go back now to you. There, I got your name up there. See that? It says Vince Marino right there.
There you go.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Official.
Exactly. Do you like to take it into the paint and work it? I know Coach has a game plan. And sometimes these teams have this fast cuts and the fast passes, and they're crisp and back and forth, and they spend maybe 20 seconds or so just working it in there. There's no. By the way, we'll talk about shot clock in a minute. Do you like that, or do you just like to go on down and shoot and move on?
It's fun to go down, get a bucket, and then get back on defense. But at the same time, you gotta read what you got. You can't always go down and do somebody by yourself. You gotta read what you got, and sometimes you gotta set something up, run it for a little bit, and get the best option. When you work it in like that, down on, on your point where you're making your baskets, what you're doing, you're wearing down their defense. Right.
Where if you make the quick basket go down, you're back on defense, and then all of a sudden they have the chance to work it. And you know what I'm talking about is time management here, Coach, as well.
Yeah, and by the way, we've been working a lot on it in the last week on situations and clock and strategy when you have the ball and when you're up and what the clock says and stuff like that. We're doing a lot of that now. I think it helped us the other night against Northport pretty much. And we've been practicing, and that's on suggestions from Vince and some of the players that we kind of put a clock on some of our scrimmages in practice and just put up situations where it's 4 minutes, you're down 2, you have 1 timeout, we're shooting 1-1. You just put the game situations into practice, and I think it really helped us a little bit on Friday. So pretty good. it was pretty good. So I think that's what we'll continue to work on that. We'll continue to do that.
You mentioned that he gives some suggestions to you.
Oh, yeah.
Do you come up with ideas and say, hey, Coach, what about this?
Yeah.
And do you find him open to do that too?
Yeah, he definitely listens. Anything that'll work, he's open to. We could figure it out as a team, talk to him. Even Coach Montgomery, he'll think of some things. Tristan, he thinks of a lot of stuff
Listen,
too.
man, here's the deal. There's no ego here. I mean, it's all about trying to win. And the kids are playing in the games. They got a feel for what's going on. They knew if they can take a kid, or they can maybe take a kid off the dribble to the basket, or maybe they can do something. They see it and feel it. Sometimes as a coach, you get so wrapped up into, you're trying to get something. You have it in your mind. You have a plan that you want to try to do, as far as you were just talking about passing the ball and cutting and kind of a few good passes. But sometimes the kids get a feel too. And if they come to me and they say, Coach, we got this or that. Me and Vince talk throughout the whole game. If you notice during the game when he gets control of the ball, and he'll go, no, Coach, let's go one more time with this. Or whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, we don't, me and Mike Montgomery, my assistant, we don't care. If it's working and it looks good and we can pull it off, then we're all good. They know what they're doing. They've been doing this for a while. So, that's what I mean. Your senior captain, whether it's him or our junior captain, Tristan Burrows, they're in the fire. They know what's going on. So if they feel there's an advantage someplace, we'll go ahead and look at it. I'm open to any of it.
Tristan, I'm glad you brought him up. I have seen since the beginning of the season till now, his defense, it's starting to come up. He's starting to attack on the boards more. Are you noticing that as well as a teammate?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, have you gotten into his face and said, come on, man?
Yeah, he likes to get fired up. And he's came a long way. He's been putting in the work. He's becoming a ball player, and he's a big factor on our team now.
Yeah, because, I used to call the girls' basketball games.
Yeah.
And the difference is that they're not afraid to get on the floor and scramble it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And the phrase was they never met a floor they didn't like.
Yeah.
And the guys, you guys play ball and everything, there's more of a little bit of finesse. It's like you're not going to get down there and be scrappy like that. But yet it was good to see Tristan, now back on the boards, get up there and not be afraid to attack it again and put a second shot up or a third shot up. It's like, hey, wait a minute. We own that basket as much as those guys.
Sure.
We want to get the points for us.
Yeah. He's came a long way. He's got a little bit of dog in him now.
Oh, good.
So, hopefully he keeps getting better.
All right. Who else have you seen come this season, progress? Because at the beginning of the season, it's like a clean slate. Now, I saw you last year. Mm-hmm. But some of these kids are new, and they're coming underneath coach's tutelage.
Yeah,
that's a big word, isn't it?
Nice word, man. Good vocab.
I think Will Meisner has grown a lot. He's learned how to attack the basket. He needs to get his IQ up a little bit, but he's not afraid to go to the rim, draw
Now
contact.
we're talking the basketball acumen.
Yeah, basketball
IQ.
Not he's a real smart kid. In school, he's a real smart kid.
I wanted to make sure that we got to get him off of probation here.
No, he's good.
Well, we use that term basketball IQ all the time, so that's what Vince is talking about.
Put the basketball IQ in there.
Yeah, he's definitely came a long way, and it's cool watching these kids grow and get their skill level up.
Now, what about Shrades? I mean, I'm watching him come down there. That's my nickname for him. But, he's got this football mentality.
Yeah.
He wants to attack and everything else. And it's like, you can't do that in basketball. It's called a foul.
Yeah. Sometimes I think he's just such a big kid that he wants to do the right thing, but it's hard for him because he's so big. Like going up to block a shot.
He's good, though. When he gets into that mode, he can really attack.
Yeah, but sometimes he gets that football mentality and wants to hit somebody.
You know what I'm talking about, too.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I personally am ecstatic that Thomas is playing, and not only for any other reason that Thomas has played basketball with this group for a long time. He just did not play last year because he was working so much on football. But Thomas has played with travel ball back in 6th and 7th and 8th grade and stuff like that, and he loves basketball. I'm just happy that he decided to play. I'm happy that he's on the team. I'm happy he's having fun, and because he is having fun. And like Vince says, sometimes he gets a little over the top. But when you got a big body in the middle of that, sometimes, really, it's not like he's scoring 20 points a game or getting 15 rebounds a game. Just sometimes having him on the floor in those areas. I mean, he's tough. I mean, his feet are good. His feet are good, and he's hard to kind of get around. He kind of gets in the way a little bit. So we like him in there. We've been playing the two big guys together for the last few games, which I think has worked out okay. We're trying just different combinations of guys to see what's going on with it. So having Schrader in the middle of that is certainly, excuse me, has certainly been certainly tough on other teams trying to get to the basket. That's for sure.
We're live at Pop Sunset Grill. This is the Venice Indians basketball coaches show. Coach John Flynn, senior. You are a senior, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you going to graduate?
Yes, sir.
Yes, he will.
I mean, it's funny because seniors start at the beginning of the year saying, "I'm a senior, I'm going to be out," and all of a sudden it's like February, March. It's like, whoops, I need another course.
Yeah, it's important to stay on top of your grades.
Does Coach kind of push the academic side too?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. If you're slacking, he'll definitely let you know.
But I got to tell you something. I get the reports all the time, and we really, honestly, don't really have. We've never had a big problem with that at Venice. I mean, occasionally you run into something that's a little weird, but we really have not had. Knock on wood, we've never had an issue. The kids are always good students. Our team GPA is always very good. So it's just.
And you find academically, if they're in the top GPA range, they actually make better ball players. Maybe it doesn't translate always that way.
I don't know about that, but
address your questions, Coach John.
No, but what I will say is that our job as coaches is not just to win state championships, or it's about helping kids get through school, and getting them to the next level onto whatever they want to do. And at Venice, we take the GPA, we take studies pretty importantly, and I get reports every week, progress reports, and everybody, they're emailed to me every week. And I mean, like I said, we don't really have that issue. Our team GPA is probably 3.3 or 3.4, something as a whole. And we got kids, like Vince and Thomas Schrader, and you got these seniors who are going on to the next rung on their in their life journey in college. And so you just got to kind of keep that together. And just they get on through and get on to their next deal. So we watch it. We certainly watch it, and we're expected to do that. And then if anybody is off kind of a little bit, we'll take them on the side and just privately talk to them about whatever missed assignments, or coach or teachers will email or call. But we don't really have that issue. They're really good. Most of them are all good students.
Now there's going to be 3 more coaches shows after this one, just to let you know what will be happening here. On the 20th and the 27th of January, the next 2 Monday nights in January. And then February the 3rd, that's the first Monday in February, the day after the Super Bowl. By the way, you have something to say about that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And you'll probably say, who is the team playing? No.
That could be possible this year because I haven't really paid attention, but I paid attention enough to know what's going on.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to tonight. Tonight's my Super Bowl.
Okay.
Who do you got tonight?
All right, now, we'll go there. It's LSU and Clemson, and they're going to be going there. I'm rooting for LSU to win because pretty much I've seen enough of Dabo and I've seen enough of Clemson. And so, but I'll tell you, we've got Trevor Lawrence and we've got Joe Burrow, both really good quarterbacks. And so I don't see any bad quarterbacking on this game tonight.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking LSU, the way they seem to be a little bit more complete on the rest of the squad. That's my thinking, and we're going to get yours as well. But
I'll tell you the truth, I'm a huge Dabo Swinney guy, and I'm going with Clemson tonight. I know the whole world is going LSU, but I don't know. The guy has just something about him. There's something about him. I don't know what it is. He's just a winner. I read a lot of his stuff. I read a lot of stuff that he writes, and I just feel he's a really interesting cat, and I'm pulling for him. I hope they can pull it off. But like you said, though, there's no downside. It's going to be a great game.
I mean, Orgeron, you just hear him. And the joke in the back of my mind is he'd be perfect for voiceover work.
I would love to listen to some of the stuff he has to say. I just can't understand what he would have to say. So for sure.
It's like
how about you? What do you got?
He's had a little bit too much whiskey, I think, in the chords.
I got LSU. There was actually a kid in my class who was chirping a little bit, so I bet against him, and so I'm taking LSU.
See that?
Now, is it because you're going against him, or is it because that's your pick?
No, he was doing a little too much talking, so I had to go up.
Okay,
and
so in other words, get into his face. So there's the attack. And
so I got luck on my side. Hopefully LSU wins.
Oh my goodness! And that was the best piece, wasn't it?
5-second rule.
Okay. Marino, are we talking Italian here?
They can talk a little bit.
No, I mean, you have some.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
I could-
So
yeah, full-blooded
pizza
Italian.
and spaghetti and all that kind of stuff. You enjoy that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Have you been watching any of the NFL games?
A little bit, yeah.
What do you think about what happened with the Titans beating Baltimore? That was an incredible game.
Yeah, that was a good game. Pretty unexpected, too.
Yeah, it really was. Did you happen to see that, John?
I did not.
And that's why I did not ask John.
I was
because
probably
he's not
watching
in
the
that.
girls' basketball game or something.
Yeah, they were crawling on the floor looking for a basketball, probably. All right, some final thoughts, Vince, and then I'm going to have the coach sign us out here. Some final thoughts. Going up against Imagine, coming up.
It's still another basketball team. We're going to go into it, focus, ready to come, and hopefully we get a W, and it's going to keep the momentum going.
All right. Game plan, Coach Flynn, for Imagine, and what are you expecting out of your team? Obviously a win, but
Well, I'll be honest with you. We're lately we've been keeping our scouting reports to a minimum, just basically on key players for other teams. We've been focused pretty much on what we're doing more than what everybody else is doing. So it'll be that plan will be the same. We'll get the scouting report on Wednesday. We'll work on a couple of things. We watch a lot of tape and stuff on other teams, so we'll see that. We'll know who the players are, but we've been really focused on what we're trying to do and try to get it done on our side of it. And I think when we take care of our business, we're in better shape. So I do want to mention about Vince. We've had the whatchamacallit, the pleasure of coach. His brother Dominic was at Venice High School too.
Okay.
About 5 years ago now. And Dominic was a nice player too, a good football quarterback. Went on to play some college football, but so it was cool that we got both of them playing in the same program. It was pretty neat. So
yeah, and you were able to work with both of them.
yeah, coach both of them. Yeah, that's back when I was an assistant when Slayton had the program. But yeah, it was just pretty interesting when you get some brothers like that. We have some other brothers now with the Burroughs boys and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool when you have some years apart between siblings. So it's pretty neat.
Next week it'll be Athletic Director Pete Dombrowski. He will be John's special guest, and he'll be able to enjoy the great food here at Pop Sunset Grill. Thursday night we'll be up at the Teepee with Venice and Imagine, and then the coaches show, and then we'll be off a week with no games, and then the following week will be a busy week because we'll have the coaches show and a couple of games on that Tuesday and that Friday. Turn around and do another coaches show, and probably a Tuesday or Wednesday. That's the one coach is still working on. And then the final game of the season, February the 7th.
Yeah, and then another big game for us too will be this Saturday coming up down in Charlotte at the Wally Keller shootout, that yearly event, that big event that they have down there for Wally. So we'll have Bartow in that game. We play at 6 o'clock. Play at 6 o'clock down there. So another great team, another good competitive team for us. All that stuff helpful to us. So we look forward to that challenge as well coming up. So I think at the end of the year, people can't say that we skated the schedule. Our schedule's been pretty brutal.
And that's how you grow. Are you looking in the playoffs?
I agree.
Yeah, I am looking for.
I mean, not that you're out there thinking that, but looking to be in the playoffs, because pretty much everybody's at least going to get a shot maybe that first week.
For sure. That's always the goal, is to get in the playoffs and win some ball games.
How does it ramp up? How's the play different?
Oh boy, big difference. How is it the intensity or the?
In other words, okay, you have
Oh,
regular
yeah.
season, then you have playoffs. I mean, does it ramp up differently, or do you just still attack it as another game?
It's definitely, you got to take it like another game, but there's always that
Win or go
mentality.
home.
Yeah, exactly.
The other issue, too, that Vince may have not thought of, too, is that for the seniors, it becomes a little bit more critical, especially really competitive seniors where, you get to the end, right? You get to the end of your high school career, and you don't want it to end. You got one more game. So it sort of kind of fuels that fire for you. In years past, we've had 7 or 8 seniors per year. It felt like we've graduated so many seniors. This year, it's a little bit smaller class. But I know for a fact that those guys, you don't want it to end. You want to keep going. You don't want it to be over.
Senior night is when? Is it the last one?
I can't. I don't want to say it yet because
Do you know what it is?
No, we don't. Nobody knows because I haven't told anybody yet because
It's
I'm not sure.
mystery.
No, it's just that it's not a case of being a mystery. It's just that I'm not sure. With this new development of the game, I may have come in another home game. It may work out better. So I'll probably know by the end of the week.
Okay. So next Monday, we'll tell you on the Coaches Show with Pete Dombrowski. here, and boy, that should be a fun show.
Well, my kids will know right away, but I mean, I'm just waiting to get a call about this game, and so it'll be between one day and another.
All right, join us Thursday night when Imagine comes to the teepee. Going to be a great game. Then come on down to Pops next Monday. There's plenty of places to sit right here along the Intercoastal. You can ask John a question. Ask Pete a question. Ask him. What's a hard question we can ask Pete?
Do not ask Pete about anything about rules because he's too darn good at it. So I wouldn't ask him anything about that. But I do want to get a plug in for Joe and Kristen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Joe and Kristen here at Pops are such good supporters of Venice High School. They're great supporters of our basketball program. With what they do for us, we really appreciate it. So I always try to get a little shout out to them. And anybody who's in town, want to come to the Intercoastal, hang out at a really cool place with some nice drinks and good food, Pops is the place to go for sure.
And our sponsor right here, Mackenzie of Florida, Mackenzie Construction. You see their logo there, and they sponsor not only the coaches show but the ball games. And Scott Huber and his whole crew. And by the way,
we still got to get out and drive those big dozers. He's going to let us drive.
That's right.
We got to get.
He's looking for a couple of people to hire still for excavators.
Mr. Huber's going to let us go drive those big, huge $1 million dozers.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to go out there. He's going to put us in the middle of a field.
You nail 5 threes. We'll get you on one of those.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I could do that.
That'd be cool for sure.
If I could drive a dozer.
Is 7 threes in a game something that, whether girls or guys, 7 is pretty good.
Yeah, it is very good.
7's a good number. Good number. Yeah. We'll take a little bit of that Thursday.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. All right, until next time, this is Remotes Are Me, and this is the Coaches Show live at Pops.
Appreciate it, guy. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Catch you again. Have a good night, everybody.